Hey yo, what's up? So today I'm doing a video like weird and shit. School. Who doesn't like it, right? Let's rate all the subjects because I know. Let's start with English. I think English was like okay. The problem with English in here is the following. So in Portugal, you have like three or two types of people that speak English. You have the ones who can't do anything, right? The ones who can like say hello, good morning, and little more. You have the ones who speak like they're fucking prodigies at English, you know? Like you see them speaking, you think they're Americans or some shit. And then you have people like me, people who are in the process of learning, you know, people who are good at speaking, can get a conversational type English, but then when they talk, they look like shit, which is like me. Portuguese class, it was shit. I mean, the problem with Portuguese is like it is very complex. It's way too complex, and like you have the conversational Portuguese, and then you have the correct Portuguese. Like everyone, from time to time, the Portuguese has changed among the people, and depending on where you live, it sounds different. It works different a little bit, and teachers don't like teachers understand that, but they don't teach it like that. So what ends up happening is we end up learning versions of Portuguese that are not like spoken anymore. Old Portuguese, you know, like imagine learning Old English. It wouldn't work. That is basically Portuguese. Oh yeah, and there was also the fact that most of the texts from that time that we ended up analyzing and shit ended up also having Latin and Spanish, like a different version of Spanish that's like put together with Portuguese. It's very weird. The fact that we were learning all this and nobody actually nobody liked the teacher. Like she was fine at first, right? Like, in the first like month or something, she was super cool. Everyone liked her. Very energetic. She would speak to us like no problem. But then eventually she would do like very passive aggressive attacks. She would make odd comments and act way too formal. And you know, nobody really liked that. So it ended up being, you know, kind of awkward to be in that class. Uh, informa- uh, systems of information. I don't know, informational systems, some shit like that. Like in Portuguese is a sistema de informação, but I have no fucking idea how do you translate that. I mean, we didn't learn much in there. It was like, you know, I mean, like it was we had to code in this like port like translated version of Python. It's called I think Visual G or G Visual, like some pseudo coding language no one actually heard about. And you know, like it was okay. You know, like it was definitely challenging for many to begin the programming scene. We also learned, I think it was hardware. We learned what else did we learn? We learned cloud shit, and you know, it was fine. It was fine. I really liked the teacher. Like I think he's the only teacher who actually taught in two subjects, and we were very lucky to have him. Like the teacher had already like previous experiences and has been teaching for years now. I think for over 30 years that he's been teaching. So, he has a way with kids. He's cool. So I think I'm gonna put it in a B. I'm not gonna put it in an A just because I felt it was mostly because of the class's fault. I mean, a lot of times people would just not do what was asked and would instead just be on their phone, just watch YouTube, and yeah, it would definitely, you know, be something not good. It was kind of awkward. It was kind of awkward. Um, Multimedia or multimedia technology, something like that. Let me explain to you. Now, when you're learning multimedia or like editing softwares, animation softwares, or anything like that, like you first have to learn the basis. Like first of all, learn the basis of your operating system, like basic shortcuts. Copy, paste, save. Like first you have to learn that. Then you have to learn the basis of the software. Like work with it a little bit, watch some tutorials, and then you start doing projects. The teacher did. I don't know. I don't think the teacher understands this. Like most of the times, what we would be is we will watch YouTube videos with the teacher, videos that the teacher never watched. He would legit just go on YouTube.com, just search, like software shit, about something about the software that we were about to use, and then he would say, "Oh yeah, this video looks fun. You guys can do this. I think." Like, and then we would see the shit, and he would pretend like he knew what he was talking about. Like, he actually convinced himself that he knew what he was talking about. Like, oh yeah, you have to grab this, and you click here, then you change this, and that's how he's doing. And like, like that friend who always lies, and you get to a point where you pretend that you are in the conversation, but he's lying just to see how deep he's willing to go. That was basically it. What I even ended up doing was I watched the videos at home, and I could already guess on the algorithm, like which videos would appear, and I would legit choose the, like, not all, but a lot of exercises that we were doing. Like a lot of times I'd say, "Hey teacher, that would be cool for us to do, don't you think?" And he would be like, "Oh yes, yes, let's see it." And then we would fucking do it, and I would already know how to do it, and I looked like a pro. It was basic trolling. We do a little bit of trolling. So yeah, I mean, that wasn't good. Oh yeah, and the teacher, if you ever have questions about the software, yeah, good luck, because the teacher doesn't know it. Like, we would go to the teacher and he would legit say, if it's a question of the exercise, I never did it, so I don't know. Like, it was the most absurd class ever. Like, it looked like a student who just infiltrated himself in the school, but he's been teaching there for years apparently. So, like, bro, what the hell is going on? But overall, he was actually chill. Like, he was actually a good person. You know, his son is in the school as well. You know, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. There was a time that I was working in school, and like I had to clean the computers and the compressed air. Like like big machines of compressed air. And I didn't know that you had to pour the water, and so he told me, and he also said like how to properly hold the gun. So it was cool. It was cool, but the subject itself, but history S, flat out S. I mean, man, I love that class. It was legit the one class that I loved going. because the teacher was so awesome. He legit wanted to be our friend. He was legit our friend. Obviously he wouldn't like uh go out of his way, to do stuff for us, like improve our grades for no reason or some shit like that. He was very fair, he was very philosophical. You would always see him, like, even outside of school, walking, looking at the ground, thinking. Like, he wasn't depressed or anything, he was legit thinking. Like, and the way that he spoke, man, I mean, it was like if the teacher spoke Latin, right? And if you traveled back to fucking Roman or Greek times, and you see, I bet you'd see someone like the teacher. Like, some Greek philosopher just fucking died, uh, reincarnated in my history teacher's body, learned Portuguese, and kaboom, he started teaching. He's awesome. That's how I feel. And also history. I mean, I'm a guy who loves history, so it was awesome. It's just awesome. Math, math. Here's the thing. Math isn't bad. I love math. Like, I started getting into calculus. I'm depressed. No, but just kidding. Um, the thing with math is you need to understand it. Like, you have the formulas. Like, you reach a time where you have only formulas to work with, and you need to understand it in a mathematical type uh, of media. It's math. It's a different type of media. You have to understand it differently, and some people just can't. Some people pass arithmetic and fucking die. Can't get into algebra, which is understandable. Like, not everyone is built equally the same. The thing is that the teacher, she had a few problems, and she wasn't there to be mad. She wasn't there to get mad at the students. So we had to do everything into this online platform. And the problem with that is that there wasn't anything stopping us from just screenshotting the exercise and just fucking throw it to the rest of the class. And that was what happened. And I did it. Like, I'm guilty. I know I shouldn't do it, but fuck that. As long as everyone's happy. So, it ended up just being very odd, because you would see people who don't know, like, the basics, who can't, who have struggles, like, doing anything. Like, imagine, it's typical cheating. Yeah, it's like, imagine there were cases like this. Like, you show, like, a picture of, like, a forms, like, oh yeah, there were this amount of students who did this, this amount, see this, and then you have to calculate what was the, like, the most picked, things as student shit. Like, I don't know, man. I just woke up. Just give me a fucking break. Like, the person wouldn't know, It was odd, because that same person, you check his math record, it was all 100%. He was all A plus, like, all the tests 100%, and they didn't know shit. So that was how crazy that is. The tests were more hard. What the fuck? The tests were harder mainly because the time. We had very little time for many questions and many complex questions. There was even a time where there was a question that was copied incorrectly and became impossible. I remember that. I did the tests. Nobody could, like, find the answer. The teacher couldn't explain it. At least, I mean, she could, but I didn't understand two jack shits. And I'm a guy who loves math, so I went on to my math coach, and he said, what the fuck? This is impossible, man. You know, like you have if that question is wrong, you have to force the teacher to actually explain it because this is impossible. With this much data, it's impossible. And the explanation that I told him, like what the teacher had told me, the explanation was, he said, that makes no sense. So, makes no sense. I'm gonna give it a C. Because, I mean, that's the problem. I love math. I love. But doing this mainly online, I hate online math. Like, I prefer do math on a pencil than online. I know that calculus, it's impossible to do that, I think. So, yeah. LeBron James, PE. PE was fine for the first months. The problem with PE is we had this teacher who came from another school, and he was very into professionalism and very into sportsmanship. So what ended up happening was he got very mad at us. Like at first he would cheer everyone up and try to get everyone you know wanting to do the fucking exercises. But eventually he sort of gave up because he saw that little to no people actually wanted to be there. I think there were like only two people. I liked it, and another guy who's my friend who's like an athlete. He's a national skiing champion. I think freestyle skiing or I don't know some shit like that. So yeah, there's that. And the fact that no, there were kids in my class who smokes. What the fuck was this phrase? Like, there are kids in my class who smoke. That's what I meant to say. So, the kids, would always receive a huge talk from the teacher, like, oh yeah, you're gonna die soon, like, you're always like you don't even do exercise and you smoke like you're gonna fucking die. But overall it was fine. The teacher did got very upset at us. Eventually he was legit not having none of our shit. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put it in a C. I mean I loved it. Like for the first months it was an A. Then it was a B, and then it was a C. Like by the end, he legit just gave us a frisbee and said, "Yeah, throw it against the rest." Like do a triangle. Like switch. Pass it to your friend, and your friend passes all that while you guys are walking. Like it was very boring stuff by the end. DCA or computer drawing. I know it has nothing to do with it, but funny enough, computer drawing didn't have any drawing. Like for a whole school year, full 9 months, no computer drawing at all. I think I'm gonna put it in B though, because like the software that we used was Corel, and for editing images, it's fine. Like you can do some stuff with it. And I think most people kind of understood what you could and couldn't do with the software. So it was nice. Although one complaint that I have is the fact that for the first months I asked like, bro, like okay, I understand this, but why can't we be learning like Photoshop? Like, bro, you the school has Photoshop, and in the paper it says that we need to have X hours of image editing. Why don't we do it on Photoshop, which is where most people search for? And then the teacher just went on a rampage saying like, okay, this is vectorial, this is bitmap. That's it. But okay. It was still fine though. I think people actually got very creative, and I think it did bring people together generally. Um, Informationals. Eh, Okay, we're back. So I think that informational systems was fine as well. I think like we learn like the basics of Office. We learn your basics, your Word, your Photoshop, Excel. But we also learn a little bit more, like hardware, basic stuff, and cloud storing, storage. But like, I just felt like it was very forced. Personally, I feel like Word and PowerPoint were just there because, you know, and Excel was the biggest guy. The only problem really was the fact that the teacher, like, it was cool. It's the same teacher from DCA, but from applied informatics. But the problem is I think he missed about a month or so, and so our free Wednesdays were all cut by his class, and people didn't really like it. Like having all the whole schedule like full is nothing very cool. And plus, I was lacking behind because I had to cut his class to go to the drama club, which was at Wednesdays. So during his catch up classes, I think it's catch up class that you call it. Like when you miss a class and you have to catch up, like have an extra class to do it. I don't know what the name is. Either way, though, I'm gonna have to put it on. I don't know. I don't actually. Oh wait, but this also had programming in it, which I think. No, no, it was this one. It was this one. It was this one that had it. I think I'm gonna. Yeah, B. No, B. It wasn't that bad, but it also wasn't that good. Now here, integration area, I'm gonna put it in A. It's not a subject that exists, and it's a subject that I've heard about very recently. Like only this year, when I had it, did I actually heard about it. It's pretty much like philosophy, but it also covers other subjects, more delicate subjects, racism, feminism, uh, how to make a family, like sex as well. We talked about it. And like I think like the reason for why I'm putting this like so high is not because I like philosophy. It's mostly because of the teacher. Again, like teachers just make such an impact on the way that the subject is viewed and the way that everyone loves it. So I think that the reason was that despite the fact that she would like get sometimes late because she would be like eating at the bar, she was very teenage like. Like if you took her brain and put it on a teenage body, like swap bodies, it would legit like no one would notice because she just like she acts like a fucking teenager. Like she's the type of teacher that the kids be like, yeah, when I am teacher, when I become a teacher, I'm gonna be very cool, and I'm gonna act and talk to kids like I wanted my teacher to talk to me. It was basically that, like no cap. It was basically that, and there was even like an episode where there was someone legit not paying attention at all. She called him out, and then she grabbed, no, like she extended their hand and grabbed like some potato chips from another guy who was secretly eating potato chips in class, and she looked at him like, "This is good," and he said, "Yes." Like, bro, like those are the moments, like connecting to the kids and making a awkward situation, which is the teacher be yelling at the students, transforming that into a good thing. Like that, like teachers who are able to do that, like my deepest respects. But yeah, I think that's it. I also had work in school, but most of the things there were private. So yeah, one thing I can say is I spend most of the time just installing Windows and like checking school computers to see if they were fine or not. No. And I watched the entirety of Breaking Bad while installing Windows on all schools' computers. I legit had to install um, Windows 7 was installed, so I had to like install a key. I had to get the product key, then install Windows 10, so the key gets on the hardware, and then install Windows 11 because that's what the school wants it to be installed. It was nice. I mean, it was nice. The guy that was like a teacher with me, he's not a teacher from my school. He is a teacher from Lisbon, from what he calls the Portuguese MIT, MIB, something like that. MIT, I think, right? MIT, right? MIT. Yeah, MIT, like the Portuguese MIT, and it was very cool, like generally very cool. I liked it. No, he legit taught me more. In the I think it was 2 3 weeks that I was there. He taught me more than the entire school year. So props to him. Yeah, I guess that's it. Get the hell out of here.